First up, we're going to have Torri Shack, a transformative advocate breaking down stigmas and teaching resilience at the nexus of mental health and LGBTQ issues. His work aims to revolutionize the discourse and action surrounding mental health, suicide prevention, LGBTQIA2S+ equity, and gender identity. As a two-time attempted suicide survivor and a recovering drug addict and alcoholic who identifies as a transgender male, Torri's path to self-acceptance and empowerment has been described as one of the gnarliest stories ever heard. Here to tell it himself, please welcome Torri Shack.
Hey everyone, thanks Anita for the introduction. Can you get on the Authentic Rebel? I'm super stoked to be here. First of all, if you're all new to the new Zoom, I don't know if you guys know the reactions, but if you go like this, yes. I'm not sure if you all knew that, but that was kind of mind-blowing when I found out. Anyway, to get on with it, I digress. My name is Torri Shack, and I grew up in Orange County, California. I identify first as a human. Second, I am a transgender male. I'm a two-time attempted suicide survivor. I'm a recovering drug addict, alcoholic, what else? Eating disorder recovery. And I am a person living with mental illness. So I check off all the boxes. So I do have a pretty gnarly story. I don't know if it says the gnarliest yet, but I'm gonna try to condense it into a 15-minute period here for you all. If anyone wants to mark my time, that'd be great. So I grew up in Orange County, California, with a racist, homophobic father and a severely mentally ill mother. I'm the oldest of four. At about 14 years old, I started feeling depressed and started doing drugs, marijuana. Actually, my first entrepreneurial job was at age 14, and that was selling marijuana. So I've been a serial entrepreneur ever since. And I don't know, it's kind of led me down some interesting paths, I'll say the least. I was raised to believe that gays were bad and horrible and should not be on this planet. I was also raised that white is the only race that should be recognized. We refer to every other race in the family by the most derogatory terms possible. So it took me a long time to unlearn racism and also to exert and get rid of my internalized homophobia. At 14, I was started to dabble into drugs. My depression was pretty bad. My dad didn't want any crazy or sick people in his family. So he told my mother she can only take me to therapy so long as she paid cash with no insurance. So there's no ties back to the family as far as having some sick person in the family. So that's how I was raised, just to give you some context. Upon realization that I was gay, in hindsight, I look back after when I was 14, I started realizing, hey, I think I'm gay. I was self-harming. I was doing drugs, severely depressed, didn't see a path, a way out, just saw nothing but pain and anguish, considering the fact that I was raised to believe that I was supposed to, be an attorney, a doctor, get married to a man, have 2 kids, 2 golden retrievers, and a white picket fence. And that just wasn't going to happen for me. And I didn't see any future for myself. So that was my first suicide attempt, my first entry into mental illness and into mental institutions, which this will not be my first time. I go in and out just a few more times. Anyways, after I got out of that situation, I graduated to a meth dealer, started dealing methamphetamines and doing methamphetamines. And, I became aware of my white privilege at this time. This is when I was running with a bunch of Mexican guys and we'd all be hanging out. And this happened a number of times. That one time I can specifically remember is I was in a park and the cops rolled up on us and put all the guys into the patrol cars because we all had meth on us. And the cop unclipped my handcuffs and told me to go home to my little daddy. My daddy, little girl, that's what he said. I looked like, I'll show you, just to give you some context here. I'm going to share my screen so you can see what my daddy looked like. Can you guys see that? So that's me with the super long hair, the super long wavy hair in the back standing up. And that's what I used to look like. So, and that's my family. If that gives you any idea of what the quintessential looking Orange County family used to look like or supposed to mold into. Just a little interesting picture there. Anyways, I went to rehab at 17 for detoxing from methamphetamines, and then I went to college, and I was diagnosed with panic disorder, depression, ADHD. As you can tell, I still have it. I'm just not medicated for it. And that's when I began my addiction to prescription medication. Opiates, benzos, stimulants, you name it, whatever, and alcohol as well. And that's Riley in the background. I just got her a month ago from the Humane Society. Somehow I managed to graduate top of my class from the University of California, Santa Barbara, and serve an internship in the White House. I'm going to age myself now under President Bill Clinton in 1998. I'm 45 years old, so my first suicide attempt was in 1993. Anyways, after college, September 11th happened like right away. So the economy was really bad. There was no jobs out there. I got a job as a membership counselor at LA Fitness, selling gym memberships, drinking around the clock, doing drugs around the clock, participating in horrible activities, and hating myself. I still hated myself. I hated the fact that I was gay. And then my sister said, hey, so and so is making so much money in the mortgage business. Why don't you try getting into the mortgage business? I ended up getting into the mortgage business, and within a couple of years, I started my own company. So about 24 years old, I started a mortgage company on my own, and I had about 50 people working for me, 2 different offices, and making about $100,000 a month, pocketing it. Like, money was just grew on trees. It's heavily into my drug usage, alcoholism, and then at that time, I had a girlfriend who I was with for 7 years. The market crashed in 2008, and I lost everything, including her. I then entered into the fitness business because I wanted to do something that, in case, if money didn't matter, what would I do? So I wanted to become a personal trainer. So I went to Barry's Boot Camp and became a trainer at Barry's Boot Camp. If you guys know what Barry's Boot Camp is, I was trained by Barry, and Barry became my first sponsor in my adult life and got me sober through AA. I ended up becoming a celebrity personal trainer and traveling the Western world with all different artists. And at this time, it was a very pivotal, dark period in my life. I was suffering from deep, dark depression and suicidal ideation and a horrible eating disorder where I would binge, restrict, and then had exercise bulimia. So I was sitting in the car binging right before I go into my sessions with my celebrity clients, trying to motivate them to get skinny for their tour or whatever. So it was a lot. There was a lot going on. I managed to get through it. I just pushed through it somehow, even though I wanted to die every single day. The depression was debilitating, but I got out of bed and I just did it. And then I just go back into bed and just lay there and just, hate myself. In 2009, I was raped by my girlfriend at the time, who I know now to be a sociopath. So, that added to all the other traumas that I had already experienced. My second suicide attempt and my last suicide attempt was in 2010. And I was on tour with a client in a hotel room in New York City. My eating disorder no longer was working. My drug addiction was no longer working for me. My alcoholism was no longer working for me. And I decided at that point that I wanted to end my life. I was in a tremendous amount of pain, suicidal ideations constantly telling me to die, 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 and I attempted my second time. The next day I came to, and my therapist convinced me to enter into treatment program, and I've been sober ever since. So I've been sober now for 13 years, since 2010, from drugs and alcohol. So I had been diagnosed throughout my entire life with bipolar, okay? And my dad said, you're not bipolar. And I didn't think I was bipolar either, because I thought bipolar people were the ones on the street talking to Jesus or thinking they're Jesus Christ. And, so I just refused to accept the fact that was my diagnosis. For 17 years, I was told I was bipolar, and I said, no, I'm not, because my dad said, no, I wasn't. When I got out of treatment that last time, I sunk into a super deep depressive episode for months. I couldn't do anything. I didn't know how to survive without an eating disorder, without drugs in my system, without alcohol in my system. I didn't know how to function. So I ended up going back into a psychiatric unit at UCLA. And I adopted a dog shortly thereafter. Not this one. This is my second one. And I was living with a girlfriend that I met in treatment. Really great idea. is to meet a girl in treatment or somebody in treatment and move in with them right away. That's like awesome. Watch this one. Yes. That's like the best way to happiness. It was horrible. Anyway, I ended up homeless, living out of my car to escape that situation. And with my dog Rufus in the car in Santa Monica, California, it wasn't so bad. I'd, wake up to sunrise and whatnot. So fast forward through that, because there's a lot that I have to skip through considering the time frame. And I want to get to what works for me as far as the tools and resources that I use in order to get through my hard days. Um, my recent challenges, well, I can tell you that I got back with my celebrity clients. I ended up traveling again the Western world, with clients like Miguel, Lionel Richie. And I had the time of my life. It was amazing. I was able to do that sober, with God by my side or my higher power or whatever. Like I was able to stay sober through all that, 3 or 4 years on the road. And then I've gone through many career changes since then. My recent challenges in my life right now is the last 3 years. My mom died of COVID in 2020, and then I had 3 back surgeries. And then my dad died recently last year, lost 2 jobs. I had to put my dog Rufus down last March. And you know, and then I just overcame a recent serious depressive episode. So, life doesn't just get all, this is not like a story where you're like, oh, yay, like I'm a millionaire. Like, this is great. Life is wonderful. That's not how it works right now. Soon I will be a millionaire. One day I will be a millionaire. I was almost a millionaire when I was 24. It will be happening again. And I do believe that. I'm an entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur. I just have to believe in something that's going to happen, or else why might as well just hop in a box and wait, right? So the mental health tools that I use to get myself out of these depressive episodes, or so I say, when I still have them. I am medicated. I appreciate the fact that not medication is not for everybody. However, I can tell you that in 2015, when I was finally diagnosed properly with bipolar type 2, I was not aware there was 4 different types of bipolar. So I don't go into psychosis. My bipolar is called hypomania. And what that looks like for me is I go through super hypomanic episodes that might be like super impulsive spending, super crazy rage, or, just slight hypomanic episodes where I'm still in touch with reality, but I'm just in a different headspace, if that makes any sense. And then I go into some severe, deep depressive episodes for a long period of time. That's called hypomania. And once the doctor described that to me, I was like, oh my God, that is what I've been struggling with all my life. I am bipolar. I just didn't know there was 4 different types. So once I got medicated back in 2016, I'd never been more stable than in my entire life. I've had ups and downs. Of course, medication doesn't just magically make things go away. You have to do things in order to get the mind right and moving. And these are the things that I do. I employ the 5-4-3-2-1 method. Now, this might not be for everybody, but I'm not really good at the whole like, oh, talk to your inner child, like, oh, be sweet, to yourself. I'm actually really hard on myself. It's my dad in my head talking to me. And most therapists will be like, oh my God, that's horrible. Don't say that to yourself, whatever. You know what? I don't give a shit. It works for me. And so this is what I do when I'm in a depressive episode. If I'm laying there for hours, I can't get up. I finally get so sick of myself and I call myself a little bitch. I'm like, okay, you little bitch, you're going to get the fuck up. Sorry if I'm cussing, if you guys have to turn this off or whatever, but you're going to get up in 5 seconds and you're going to go get a coffee because that's what you want. And then since you get something that you want, then you're going to have to do something next that you don't want, like pick up your clothes or brush your teeth. So I count down from 5. I go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I throw the covers off and I jump out of bed. No matter how heavy, like sandbags I feel, it doesn't matter how horrible I'm feeling. That's what I do. And I'll go to Starbucks, get the Starbucks. Then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go pick up some clothes off the floor. I have OCD too, so there's really no clothes on the floor, but I'm just giving you some ideas. And anxiety. So depression, OCD, anxiety, all the things. Also, in the last 2 years, I went through a gender transition. So 2 years ago, I moved to Reno, Nevada from California, born and raised. And I was 2 years ago, I was she, her. Then I went to she, they, and then they, them, and then they, he, and then he, his. And I had top surgery about a year and a half ago. Like I said, I also had 3 back surgeries. I'm an avid runner. Running is 100% something that has saved my sanity. The last back surgery I had was spinal fusion about a year and a half ago, and I've run 3 half marathons since then. It's just my mindset. My doctor even said it's like you have this positive mental mindset that's allowing you to heal and push through what a lot of people would use as an excuse to just lay around and do nothing. I'm like, no, 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 I can't do that. I told him, I'm like, you need to fix me up like I'm Tiger Woods. I'm an athlete. I need to move my body in order to make my mind right. So once I play the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 game, then once I'm up, usually I can get about my day. But it's that whole thing. It's like sitting in a car, right? If you're sitting in a car, you don't put your key in the ignition, the car's not going to start. So you got to put the key in the car and in the ignition. And then once you do that, all you have to do is take your foot off the brake. You don't have to accelerate. What do you do first when you get in the car? To move your car, you take your foot off the brake first. So that's it. Just like little baby steps. Like if you can't get out of the house to get to Starbucks or whatnot, walk up and down your stairs. Do anything. Just do something that's not in bed. Somehow get yourself up out of bed, for even if it's for 5 minutes. I don't care. It works. I maintain a really strict regimen, and that's what works for me. I get up at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning. I run about 6 miles with a headlamp on, or I'll go to the gym, work out, and in the evening, if I ran in the morning, I'll work out, I'll lift weights in the evening, and vice versa. And I work during the day like a workaholic, of course. Daily exercise is pivotal as far as maintaining my mental health and serenity. I also say when I'm running, I run about 100 miles a month. And when I'm running, I stop when I see a beautiful scenery and I say 10 things I'm grateful for and 10 things I want to manifest. The top things that are on my list for the things I'm grateful for is to have a roof over my head, because I was homeless at one point. Yeah. And that I have food in the fridge, money in the bank, a car with 4 wheels, and those are the top things that are on my gratitude list. And I have a list of affirmations, not affirmations, things I want to manifest that I say that I want to manifest in the future. So that's what I do as well. And then food wise, I follow a pretty healthy diet. I do the 80-20 rule. Sugar for me is the devil. Sugar for me will send me spiraling down into the depths of depression and sadness and just horrible feeling and hangover. So I avoid sugar as much as possible. It's been, again, now 30 days since I went back off sugar again. I always try. I'm like, oh, I'll just have a little bit here. It doesn't work for me. It works for you, good, but not for me. I have to stay away from it completely. I take a nap if I'm tired and and I am able to, I'll take a nap. Rest is really important. I prioritize bedtime. For me, anything after 8 o'clock, nothing good happens. What really happens after 8 o'clock? That's really great. Nothing. So I try to get to bed before my head starts getting super, super loud early. Um, I listen to a lot of audiobooks, a lot of different types of audiobooks, self-help, history, business, you name it, whatever, just to keep my mind, occupied. And I read a lot as well. So I stay busy and active, as busy and active as I possibly can. And when fear kind of creeps in for me, I combat it with gratitude and logic. It's really hard to be in fear when you're in a state of gratitude, or for me, I'll speak for myself. I acknowledge the role of medication for myself and how important it is and how important it is to maintain that regimen. Like, when I say to people, like, you don't necessarily have to be on it for the rest of your life. And you can say to yourself, oh, I've tried all these different medications. Look, I've tried medications for 17 years and none of them worked until I finally gave that one more try. And that's what stabilized me. It stabilized me enough. Medication for me is what gets me up out of bed. And then it's me that gets me moving. Right? So the meds help me stand up. They don't fix everything. I'm not saying to go get medicated. All I'm saying is if you're thinking about it, I'm sure most of you done tons of drugs out there. Like if you're afraid about putting medication like that in your body, then why are you smoking crack 10 years ago? Just to keep things in perspective. My whole goal is also to live without regrets. I don't want to be on my deathbed and thinking, God, I really wish I did that. I want to make sure that I don't have any regrets. I'd rather regret the things I have done than the things I haven't done. And for me, staying alive and staying present involves a lot of philanthropy. I'm on the board of a lot of different mental health organizations. I have a mental health organization myself. It's called Tangible Movement, which I started in 2016 for LGBTQIA and mental health issues regarding youth and resilience. You can check it out at tangiblemovement.org. And then I'll share this with you guys here too. I don't know where it went. It's right here. Just so I think pictures are kind of fun. So this will be the last thing I share, just so you kind of see the transition phases here. That was me at 16. This is me at 39 and me currently at 45. I let my hair grow out, and yes, I had grays. So, you know, it's been quite a journey for me, and it's still continuing. I just started my own company, and it's a consulting company about a year ago. It's going pretty well. It's not as great as I want it to go. I also am working on a tech product, an AI tech product that has to do with debting, and it's a mindful approach to stop compulsive spending. Right now, it's in the phases of a Chrome extension. It's an AI tool. We're hoping to get funded on that in the next 6 months to a year. So I've got things working. I'm constantly moving forward, just keeping busy, and really just believing that good things are going to happen and having faith in a higher power. For me right now, it's the mountains. The mountains in front of me are my higher power. I have these beautiful views of the Sierras. Reno's not what you think. It's actually really pretty where I live. But yeah, live without regrets and aim to accomplish my personal goals. And that's kind of how I am with life. I take my medication as right, as needed, exercise, eat healthy, and live with gratitude. Thank you.